Yeah, it's Jamie Gum.
G-U-M-M?
G-U-M.
J-A-M-I-E?
Jamie Gum.
Can everybody just share it to this man? Jamie Gum. I'm gonna clear you out.
Hi guys.
Well, look who the wind blew in. You better have some good makeup on today.
I am so sorry.
It's all good.
I was in bumper to bumper traffic, like stopped.
All right, I'm gonna invite you to turn, you can't put your camera on?
Yeah.
Why can you put your camera on? I can't invite you to do that.
Yes, hold on.
Okay. Guys, don't request. I'm not taking any guests right now. Okay. Well, thanks for coming up. I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm so late.
That's okay. A woman's always makes a late appearance, right?
Fashionably late.
Yeah. All right, Danielle, you want to just lay out the groundwork here?
Sure. So, Jamie, I saw one of your lives where you talked about you just recently are starting your transition, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said I think you were in your early 40s.
Yep, I'm 40.
Okay, and then you've been married, correct, for how long?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, and then you had said that you had 4 children. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then you said that you had recently come out to your wife and your kids. How did that go? How did they take that?
My wife was shocked at first. I did it live on here.
Oh, you told her on live?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Did she know that was coming?
No, she still doesn't even know that was live.
Oh, she didn't know she was live?
No.
Okay.
No, I called on speaker. She was on her way home from work.
Okay. And how did she react? Did she have any idea that was coming?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm a very manly man, a very good father. I was a pastor of a church at one point, assistant minister. So it was probably a big shock to her. At first, she wasn't taking me seriously. Then, I started crying, so then she kind of knew that it was real. And she said she needed a couple days to kind of adjust to it. And she went to her mother's for a few days. Then she came back and said she loves me no matter what, that even if it tears our life apart and we'll pretty much be disowned by the rest of the family, that she would stay with me and accept me for who I am.
And how old are your kids? Do you mind me asking?
21, 16, and 7.
Okay. And they took it well?
The 21-year-old won't talk to me anymore. The female 16-year-old came out to me as gay. So that was a shock to me. And that's a double shock to her mother. My son is okay with it. He's autistic, so it's hard to gauge his emotions. And the little one, she thinks it's great. She just doesn't want to call me mommy, but she likes to help me with my makeup. She likes to come in when I'm on live sometime and try to say hi to everybody, but I don't think you're supposed to have kids on here.
No. So I saw one of your videos where you filmed yourself going into the women's bathroom.
Yes.
Is that something that you do regularly?
No, that was the only time I've ever done that, and I had too many drinks, I'll admit. Mm-hmm. I got probably a little too carried away with it, and I kind of regret doing that now because I've gotten death threats and it hasn't really gone over well on here.
Okay. And then have you come out to any of your coworkers? You said that some of your family disowned you. Is that correct?
Well, my mom, I came out to my mom live on here too on speaker. So she did not take it well at all because she's a Christian woman. The thing that really hurt, my dad died of a brain aneurysm probably
Just
4 or 5
instead of the
years
word,
ago.
when you're talking about like the word DIE, like somebody losing their life, just say like lost life or like unalived.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
My father passed. My brother passed within a year of each other. And she was telling me what a disappointment that I would be to them. And that really got to me. Then the other day she was mad and called me fag and just said, you know,
Just censor the language.
Yeah,
oh, I'm
just
sorry. I'm sorry.
we don't, I just want to do like a quick disclaimer. Like we don't, this is like a bully free zone. We don't use
Okay.
LGBTQIA plus derogatory language here.
Okay.
Okay?
She called me a bad name, and then she basically said that she needs time too, that her church would not approve of it, that they keep telling her that she needs to, you know, forgive. And I just don't think that it's something that, I don't think she'll ever come around. My work, there is no way that I will ever be able to tell my work. They are all redneck, hunters. They wear, you know, camo. They're constantly going on trips to hunt for like alligators and things. They would never. I would probably lose my job. So the other day, I actually.
What do you do?
I'm a horticulturist. So.
What do you do?
A horticulturist. So I do like lawn and ornamental. I'm a state certified in inside pest control and also termite.
Okay.
And I was on here the night before. I get up at like 5:30. I go to take all the makeup off. Actually, my little one was helping me. I come walking in the door to this job, and there was like 3 or 4 of them sitting around a table. As soon as I walk in and say good morning, the guy looks up and says, "Are you wearing lipstick and eyeliner?" Because I didn't take all the makeup off. So I kind of froze. I was embarrassed. And I said, "Oh, my little one wanted to play makeup last night and I was letting her do my makeup and I forgot to take it all off."
Okay. Couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Why, first of all, okay. When did you realize that you were trans? Are you trans?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you realize you were trans?
7 or maybe earlier.
7 years old.
Yes.
What did you feel?
So I was always gravitating towards the girls. I was the youngest out of 2 brothers. Just to let you know, it was a highly not good household. Don't know if I can use that word. And I was always wanting to play kitchen. You know, my brother's playing with G.I. Joes and they're doing Rambo at the time. And I was always wanting to play house. And even when I was, I want to say 5, and I don't remember this far back, but my mom was always saying, I wanted a baby. And I would carry this baby around everywhere, trying to be its mommy.
I think there's a misconception though with like children that play with like toys. I used to play kitchen. Like my nephew plays with my niece's kitchen. So like I carrying around baby dolls and, you know, being more into girly toys, I wouldn't necessarily categorize that as like, you know, an incongruence, right? Because when I was a kid, I was a super tomboy. I used to play like manhunt and football.
Sure.
And then, you know, you just kind of like move on, right? Like you figure out who you are and you just fit into that. So are you attributing like where you are now to you at 7 years old playing with like the girl toys?
Well, there was more like, I don't know what I can say, but I would mimic being a female.
How?
a certain age, can't say how. And I would also, when my parents were at church and I would stay home sometimes, I would put on my mom's dress, and she had hair extensions, and I would put those on. And I just loved the way that I looked in it, and I would call myself Sarah. So there was more than just that.
Okay. A couple of things, and I'm going to pass it over to Envy. Do you think it's, from what you told me and what you told us, I think it's a big problem that you decided to do this publicly.
Yeah.
Life not being kind of like caught. First of all, you caught her off guard. You did it on TikTok Live, right?
Yeah.
I think that's disrespectful to your wife. I mean, I think you should have sat her down and had a conversation with her first in private.
I
right?
do too. The other day, I'm bipolar. So when I was up, I thought that was a good idea. About 2 days ago, I kind of crashed, and I was regretting the whole thing, and I don't think it was right. I shouldn't have put her on the spot like that.
Yeah.
I still haven't told her that.
Really, yeah, it's really harmful. I think that you did that online, because I think that's like an issue that you guys need to really discuss in private, right? That's your wife. You have children together. So I firstly want to say that that's wrong what you did. So
Yeah.
I hope, like, going forward, you're gonna make better decisions when it comes to your marriage. That's first of all. Secondly, you said that your child puts makeup on you.
Mm-hmm.
And how old was she?
7.
So I would say that I wouldn't consider you necessarily trans. I would consider you more have like more of a fetish for looking like a woman, because you said you like to try your mother's clothes on and you put her hair extensions on, and you liked to emulate what females are. Correct?
Yes, but that's just to express how I'm feeling internally.
Right. I mean, it sounds more like autogynephilia, cross-dressing, I would say.
Somebody just said that the other day.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Why?
But I guess from the outside looking in, I could see.
Mike, why did you agree with that?
Because I know inside, I know in my brain that I have a female brain. Did the sound just cut out? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
No, I'm muting because there's a little background noise.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's just something that deep down I've always felt. When I was wearing a suit and standing in church, I knew that I was lying to everybody, because I knew deep down this wasn't who I was.
All right, last question for me, and then I'm going to pass over to Envy. What do you mean by you have a female brain? What does that mean?
I've always been more of the feminine nature, if that makes sense. I'm not a gay man. I'm attracted to women, but I feel like there is a female nature, and I feel like I've always been that on the inside. That is the best way I can tell you.
So you're just like more of a feminine presenting man, because you're female attracted. You transitioned later on in life. You
Yes.
use your male genitalia to get your wife pregnant. And I don't mean to be rough, but you use your male genitalia, you got your wife pregnant, you fathered children, right?
Yes.
You transitioned later on in life, you're female attracted. That's like the classic definition of what autogynephilia is.
I don't feel aroused by wearing the clothes.
Well, but you also enjoy emulating yourself as a woman, correct?
Yes, I just feel like it's an expression of my internal feelings.
Go ahead, Andy.
Right. Sorry, I just wanted to ask you a question. You said that your child refuses to call you mummy. So was there at any point that you sat down and, told your child that, oh, I'm no longer your father, I am now your mother? Like, is this the conversation that you had? Like, why? Yeah, how did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, this is all brand new. So I did. I'm sorry, I'm hearing that.
Oh, am I echoing?
Go ahead.
So I did sit down and explain to her that I've always felt like a woman on the inside, and that I would still love her, just wouldn't be a daddy anymore, that I would be a mommy.
Why would you do that to her?
I think that would make more sense to her when she sees me the way that I am now.
No.
I might be wrong, but I don't know. This is all so new.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. You are wrong. You are wrong. Right? Respectfully, bro. Do you look at yourself? You're a grown man, right? You fathered children. You had no gender dysphoria when you were getting your wife pregnant. You still got a beard on your face, and you're wearing a filter. I just saw that, right? Somehow, you've convinced yourself, and you're coming on a panel full of women trying to say that you are what we are. Am I hearing this correctly?
Yes.
So you think you are what I am?
In my mind.
Then I would need you to define for me what is a woman. You say you are one, you need to tell me what that is. Because if you're a woman, then I don't know what I am.
Well, can we take it one question at a time?
Yes, what is a woman?
You're echoing.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, what is a woman?
It is somebody that is the nature of a woman.
What does that mean? What's a woman?
In my opinion, it is a nurturing, loving, more of the, in my opinion, there's two genders. That's the way that I feel. There is the manly type.
I need you to stick with what Envy asked you. Define woman so we can move forward in our conversation.
Someone who is of the female nature.
So an adult human female.
Yes.
So does that exclude males?
No.
Can you elaborate?
In my brain, I am female. Okay, physically you're looking at a male on the outside. I understand where you're coming from. There's no way that you could know what a woman is.
That's not true. We know
Okay.
what women are. Women are just female adult human beings. That's it.
Right.
Men, males cannot be that.
Okay.
So we could easily define women because we know what they are, because we are that, right? You can't include males in that definition. Especially that you sorry, Envy, go ahead.
I don't know. I can drop and try and come back for the echoing. Right, so you said you feel female inside, right? So you've agreed that a woman is an adult human female, but you feel female inside. Do you know what a female is?
Yes.
Okay, what is a female?
Envy, you got it
I
back.
already answered that.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. What's a female?
I told you what my feeling on that is. I've said it 3 times.
No, you said woman.
I said someone that is of the nature of a woman.
What's a female, though?
That what I just said is the only definition that I can give you.
So somebody that's of the nature of a woman?
Someone who is female natured.
Can you be a little bit more specific? It's like me saying a tree is a tree because it's a tree. So can you just specify like what that is? I mean, Envy could do it. I could do it.
I just have one quick question too to add to that. So Jamie, do you feel like you're a woman because you're like channeling your feminine side? Because to me it kind of sounds like you're putting woman and female into like women are nurturing, women are mothers, women like, you know, feminine things, and men are sort of like the stereotypical things that you're saying. It kind of sounds like to me you're just more feminine and not really trans. Does that make sense?
I can understand that.
So when Christy and Envy ask like what is a woman, What does it feel like? What does it mean to be a woman and a female? Like, instead of just saying, you know, I feel like a woman, so I'm a woman. Like, we don't understand what that means. So when we ask, like, what is a woman or what is a female, what is that? Can you define those things?
I want to be a mother, not a father. I have never felt comfortable doing anything that would be considered masculine. I hate sports. I don't like hunting. I don't like any of, you know, some people disagree with that, but all the things that would be more masculine things, I do not agree with, or I personally do not like. It's very hard for me to just put a definition on it.
So how do you feel like on the inside? Because again, those are more stereotypical things. Like,
yes, I
women
understand.
like to bake, women like to raise women are more nurturing, women, you know, wear makeup, like those things. But like to the core, what does that feel like to you? Not
It
just the
feels
things
like,
that you like.
it feels like I've been living a lie my whole life, that being a man is not me on the interior, that when I was presenting myself as a male, that I was lying to everybody outward. I don't know how else to put it.
So I'm going to say this with, you know, the nicest way I can. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but for me, if you've known all of these things about yourself, right? You say that you've known this since you were 7, and then you married a woman knowing this about yourself.
Yeah.
And then you raised your children knowing this about yourself. And then you flipped everybody's world upside down. Do you feel that that's selfish? I mean,
Yes.
you basically married your wife. She thought she was marrying somebody else.
Yeah.
And now her whole world has been flipped upside down, and it was done on a live stream.
I feel horrible about it.
And I don't think that it's right that you tell your littlest that you want to be mommy instead of daddy. I think that that's extremely traumatic, and it's not fair to your child. And again, it seems like you're looking at these things more like women like this and men like this, instead of like internally. Like, if somebody asks me what it feels like to be a woman, I just am. Like, that's something that a male can never be. A male can never be a female. Does that make any sense?
It does, but if that's the case, then I wouldn't know what I am.
I think that's what we're trying to understand. You know, like how.
And my daughter is very happy. I've been great to her entire life. We are like best friends. She means everything in the world to me, so I would not want to do anything dramatic towards her. But from my perception of her reaction, she seems very happy about it to me.
The thing is that she's 7.
Yeah.
So she's in what, 2nd grade?
Yep.
So she can't possibly understand what's going on with this. Okay, she can't understand. She thinks it's cute. Her dad's wearing makeup. I mean, that's probably the extent of where she is. You know, it's, oh, my daddy gets, you know, to wear makeup and I could do my daddy's makeup. That's, she doesn't understand she doesn't have the mental capacity to sit here and comprehend that you're doing this because it's something that you want to do for yourself. I want to ask you something, like, and I've done multiple interviews like this, and my question for you is, like, when did we put our needs in front of our children's needs? When did we do that as parents? As parents, it's our responsibility. Just hear me out for a second. If you disagree, I'm more than happy to listen. When did we put our own needs before the needs of our children? So I'm going to give you an example. If I was trans and I had children, I would go to the grave being however I was feeling internally. I would take that to the grave with me because I wouldn't want to disappoint my children. I wouldn't want to hurt them. I wouldn't want to harm them. And I wouldn't want to confuse them. And I wouldn't want to make them embarrassed of me as their mom. I just noticed with this ideology, nobody really seems to care about how their children feel. Why is that? Why is your needs prioritized over the needs of your 4 children?
Well, first of all, I wanted to answer the question that Envy asked, which was, why do you have a beard?
Okay.
And that was just because I rushed here and didn't have time to shave, so that's not on purpose. I would rather have been on here closer to the time that I was asked than to spend more time shaving. There was something else she asked that I wanted to answer, but
Envy, you remember what you asked?
there was like 3 or 4 questions.
I remember asking you, obviously, what is a woman and then what is a female? You haven't answered that. You can't say like, oh, a female is someone who's female natured, because then we have to see what that entails, right? So what is female natured? Like you would like people to possibly accept you into society, right? And I'd like to think I come from like a logical aspect. So if you want people to kind of understand where you're coming from, I think it would be, we need an answer that's logical, something that can make sense. So when you tell me, oh, I feel like this because I'm blah, 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 if it makes sense in my mind, then I could be like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But you're basically taking the words that have been given to us, right, that uphold us in law, right? So like woman, adult, human, female, and we have spaces that are designated for the female sex, right? And then when we have you come on, you say, oh, I'm a woman and I'm female because I'm female natured, or I feel like I am inside. Now, a female is someone who denotes the sex that can bear offspring. So do you feel like you can bear offspring?
No.
No, so then you're not, you can't feel female natured, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Because that is what a female is, and that's applicable across the board, whatever species we're looking at, you know?
I understand that.
Yeah.
There are women that cannot give birth. I don't think that's the only thing that would define a woman.
Go ahead, Envy.
Right. So the reason why, if you had heard the definition, I said denoting the sex that can bear offspring. Now there's a key word there, denoting. So denoting means an indication or a sign of. So even though if a woman is infertile, there's an indication and the sign of, should have everything gone okay, then she would be able to bear children, right? This is why we have whole medical teams dedicated to the female sex for women who are infertile. Some women are infertile, they can go and get tests done, IVF, things like that, and then become pregnant. It can happen. Right, but there is no way, no matter what you do, you would never be able to. So we need to make a clear-cut distinction between the two sexes, right? We have males and we have females. Now, what it seems to me is happening with you is, I don't know if you've hit some type of maybe a midlife crisis or something like that. And I actually do feel like you're making a mockery out of gender dysphoria, right? Because gender dysphoria is the discomfort and incongruence with your own body. There are people out there who would say suffer from this condition and would never be caught unalived having a beard like that, or their male genitalia. They would not use their male genitalia because that is gender dysphoria is sex dysphoria, because it's an incongruence with your sex body. I don't think you show signs of that, to be honest. I obviously I don't live with you, so I don't know. But you seem to have had no problem throughout your life doing what other males do. Right, so you will always relate to males. There's nothing, it's like throughout history, for example, like in Spain, right? Men used to be very effeminate. The more effeminate a man was, so the higher his heels were, the more masculine he was perceived like that. So what you are doing, you are turning woman into a fashion statement, if that makes sense. You're saying, because I like to wear the color pink and put false lashes on and like to tie my hair up or whatever you've done to your hair there, then that somehow puts you in the same category as me. But that's not the case. I don't think there's any, you're a man that likes to wear makeup, and, could you not just accept yourself as who you are and not what you want to be?
Would you consider, well, first of all, my psychiatrist pretty much says the opposite of almost everything that you just said, because I've been in therapy for quite a while, and she was saying body dysmorphia and I can't think of what you just said. I can't think of the word. You just said it.
Gender dysphoria?
Yes, gender dysphoria, body dysmorphia, bipolar, and obsessive compulsive disorder. I will admit I had a highly abusive childhood, okay? I understand that there could be some mental health issues here, but would you consider the fact that I could not go on living the way that I was living? I understand that up until this point in my life, I understand that I lived a lie, that I was, like you say, got my wife pregnant. I was trying to conform to society. I just knew deep down, I didn't think I would ever come out with this. The only reason why I did this on here and even got on here, I've only been on here for about 3 weeks, didn't even know what it was for support.
So, a couple of things. Oh, and we got another. Okay. So you have a cocktail of mental health conditions, from my understanding. What you just said, you have body dysmorphia, gender dysphoria, you have bipolar, and you have OCD. Correct?
That's what my therapist says.
Anything else?
No, that's all she said.
Is it possible that you're feeling gender dysphoria because of the cocktail of mental health conditions that you have?
I doubt it, because I've been feeling it my entire life, because it's as far back as I can remember for that. I don't think the bipolar started until I was around 12.
Okay, I mean, that's pretty young. You also said you were, you had a rough childhood, correct?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. If it's too personal, we could just move past it. Did you have any assaults as a child?
No.
Okay. Just physical abuse, emotional, mental?
Mental and physical.
Okay. A lot of people also that I interview seem to have like a cocktail of mental health conditions and then something really traumatic in their childhood. But I do want to go back and ask you, just re-ask the question that I did ask you before, which was, why do you think it's important to prioritize your own needs before the needs of your children?
You're right. A couple days ago, I was regretting everything. Felt like I should have never come out with it. Felt like I was probably destroying my life and those that are in it. But who knows what would have happened had I had to continue, because I've spent years suffering from severe depression. I've been in the mental hospital at least 2 to 3 times for self-harm.
We don't accept or tolerate anybody that does any self-harm on this live at all. We don't condone that, just to share for purposes. Go ahead.
Okay. I was trying to use
It's okay.
correct language. And I feel like at the core, that's where that came from, because I was living a lie.
What do you mean by that when you keep saying you're living a lie? Is it just because you want to just present feminine?
I feel like the presenting feminine is just reflecting how I feel on the inside.
So why not just be like a feminine presenting man and, keep your children and wife out of this thing you're going through?
Because I really felt like I was living a lie when I was wearing the suit and tie. I didn't feel like I was expressing myself the way that I wanted to. I didn't feel like I was being true to myself, and I don't know.
Jamie, I just have a question. So you said that you felt like you were living a lie, and you have no intention of coming out to the people that you work with, correct? So how do you manage to get through your work days, and then how does that flip when you get home?
This is the only place that I can do this right now. There's no way. Actually, there are people that I've seen on here that know me, so the word's already getting around. It hasn't got to my work yet. I just don't. Like I said, I couldn't risk losing my job. I'm still not comfortable really going out on a daily basis to the store. So I guess I feel like I have to do that in order to support my family. Then when I get home, nobody's really judging me here.
So support your family financially.
Yes, yeah.
And then how do you support them emotionally as you're going through this? And they're still taking it in too. I mean, it's not just about your transition. They're all in the mix as well. So how are they coping emotionally? How are you dealing with that as well? Because that's a lot for them.
Yeah, it is. My wife, I just tell, no matter what, I love you. Because the first thing they do is they think you're homosexual. So once I kind of explained everything to her and told her that, in my opinion, this would be a lesbian relationship and that she would have to be comfortable with that.
Bro, stop. Come on.
No.
Bro, you fathered 4 children. You can't do that. You can't. I'm just not even, this person right here is a lesbian. Same sex attracted. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's just like a whole new level of disrespect. Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
Well, you asked me how I talked to my wife about it. I'm just telling you that.
Can you see why we think that basically everything that you are doing, right, is for your own sexual gratification? I don't know if you watch porn or you like to fantasize about lesbians and things like that. Because you wouldn't need to sit there and tell your wife that she isn't now in a lesbian relationship, right? No. That's very harmful. What I'm finding, right, is that, all right, maybe you've gone through some struggles in your life, and and you've got a few mental health issues going on, but one I don't think you've mentioned is narcissism, right? Because there's a lot of me, I. There wasn't a lot of your wife and kids involved in this journey of how they feel, and you came onto an app where other people were affirming you in whatever it is you think you are. They're affirming you for it. You felt brave, and then you thought, I'm gonna do this live, and if my wife drops me or behaves in a particular way, in a negative manner toward me on this live, then all the other people who have supported me will gather around me and stroke my ego. This is what I'm gathering from you, right? Because there is no way that, 1, you're a woman, 2, that you are a lesbian. I think acceptance will set you free from what you are. You say you lived your life as a lie, right? And now you have found your authentic self, right? So your authentic self is you are an effeminate man, and that's okay. If you want to be feminine, no problem. But we cannot equate femininity and masculinity to the sexes. That is something that can be experienced via both sexes, right? We can have females that are masculine, women that are masculine, and we can have men that are feminine. They're not ostracized in society. Feminine men are welcome in society. There's a lot of feminine men, but that is not the vibe I'm picking up here from you. You know, that's just not what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing that maybe you've hit some type of midlife crisis or something like that. You need an outlet, or you want to be a bit more feminine, and it's come out in this way. This is what I'm picking up.
I was trying to answer a couple of your questions from earlier. So, me coming on here, you really have to understand, I have nobody in my life that would have accepted this or been in my corner. Okay, so I got on here to have at least one person. If she said, I'm leaving and taking the kids, I wanted at least somebody to be able to talk to.
Would you have stopped if she would have left and took the kids?
I'm sorry?
Would you have stopped doing this if she would have left and taken the kids? If she gave you an ultimatum and she said, you're either going to stop doing this or I'm going to leave you and I'm going to take the kids, would you have stopped?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Go ahead, you can finish answering Andrew's question.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't live another day the way that I was living, so that would be why. That would be why.
So, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I couldn't remember the other questions that were asked.
I'm getting, oh, go ahead. Envy, were you going to say something? I am sensing, you know, like you said, you have like major depressive disorder, and I feel like you need some serious help in that department. I mean, you seem very depressed just from this conversation. And of course, I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. But I think that you need to get a lot of help for what you're dealing with. And like you said, not being able to live authentically, but yet you do live as a man all day, every day, right? And then you come home and that's when you say you live as your authentic self. But like asking your wife or telling your wife that now she is in this relationship, that she's in am I allowed to say that word, Christy?
What's word?
Lesbian?
Yeah.
That now she is in a lesbian relationship, that's not fair to her, because she's not a lesbian. She married a man and you are a male, and it's not a same sex attraction relationship. So I feel like obviously you're going through a lot of things, but I don't think that it's fair that you put those things on your wife and on your children and have them think that what they've been feeling and knowing their whole lives is wrong. That's not okay. Like, you have to deal with whatever you're dealing with mentally. You need to do the things to get yourself clear, but it's not okay for you to put those things or those expectations or make your wife think that she's been living this lie, that she's a lesbian for some reason. The only lie that she's been living is the one that you gave her.
Okay.
I mean,
I saw somebody in the comments that said, you know, he's probably drug and alcohol addicted. I just wanted to comment on that. I've been clean and sober. Well, not sober. I'm drinking a couple beers after work because I was pretty nervous to come on here. But nothing in excess. I've been clean for over 10 years. So that's not an issue. I've been in therapy and on medication, so I don't think that's an issue. And the only reason why I think I seem down and depressed now is because I just feel like I'm being like not attacked, but kind of ganged up on.
By who?
There's 3 people that don't agree. I would say Envy was probably the most aggressive about it. And it's just a little scary, I guess. You know, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, and so I'm happy to drop if you want to have just the two of you on here and me and Christy. I hope that you understand why we are so. I don't think that we've been aggressive. I think we've been honest.
You've been sweet. She's been sweet, but
well, but at the same time, though, like Jamie, you have to understand where we're coming from and why this is so upsetting to us as women, because we are being impacted. We're being affected by this every day and in every country, and it's getting worse and worse. So we want you to understand where we're coming from as women, and it's not fair that. I mean, for your wife, as an example, when you go to her and you say, you know, now we're in a lesbian relationship or whatever, like that's not okay, because you're feeling a certain kind of way, right? It's not okay that you put that on her. She's already processing everything that's happened, right? And I'm sure it's going to take her a long time to process and work through all that. What she decides in the end, that's, you know, we don't know, right? But to be putting that on her and your children, like that's a lot to process. I used to work in the school system, and at 7 years old, there's no possible way. Like Christy said, right now it's fun, right? I get to help dad with his makeup, and I get to do this and that. They have no. Is it a daughter?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so of course that's fun, right? Like she has no idea what is happening in her life right now. And I hope I was just going to say, I hope that you understand that even though it's coming across aggressive, or, you know, it may be like you feel like you're being ganged up on, right? But you have to understand too where we're coming from as women. So I think that's pretty much all it is. So,
it's not my intention to make you guys uncomfortable or insult you in any way. This was just the only way I knew to get out of the situation that I felt that I was in.
All right, I got to ask a question, because I've been trying to ask, and a lot of people want me to ask. Why that username?
Jamie Gum?
Yeah.
I just thought it sounded good. I love the name Jamie, and pretty much chew bubblegum all day when I'm working. So that was the first thing.
You had no correlation to Buffalo Bill when you did that name?
Oh, is that why everybody keeps calling me Silence of the Lambs?
Mm-hmm.
No.
So you just randomly picked the name Jamie Gum, not noticing about the Buffalo Bill and the Silence of the Lambs kinds of reference there?
No, I've always loved the name Sarah or Jamie.
Okay. And also a couple of things. So you said if your job finds out, you'll lose your job.
Yep.
And again, you're willing to risk your job and the support that you're going to provide for your family for this, right?
Unfortunately.
Do you, from what I'm hearing from you, you've put your wife through a lot, right? You've suffered from mental health conditions. You've also suffered from addiction, and now you're doing this. And she stayed with you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time maybe to give your wife and kids a break?
No, she's suffered from mental health issues and addiction issues too. And no matter what the two of us have had, we said that we would stay with each other in sickness and in health. And where I'm up and she's down and I'm up, we've always stuck by each other's side. So, no.
But you said you're willing to lose your children over this, and your job, your family, your wife, everything.
Fortunately, I did not lose my family and kids. I don't know what I was thinking at the moment. I just knew I needed to get out of it. And I don't know I don't want to say what I would have done had they.
But you said you wouldn't have done anything. You said you wouldn't have stopped doing this. I asked you the question directly. I said, if your wife gave you an ultimatum and said, Me and the kids or this? You said you would continue doing what you're doing and you let your wife and kids leave, right?
So I would continue to do that, but had they left, that's where, I mean, I couldn't live without them.
Okay. All right. A couple of other questions too. First, when you go back to the lesbian thing, right? Extremely, extremely dangerous and gaslighting for your wife, and I'm going to tell you why. When I've spoken to other trans widows, so I would consider your wife a trans widow now because now her husband is gone, right? She doesn't have a husband anymore. Now she's dealing with this specific thing. So she married a man. She had an expectation to be with a man until she passed away. And even though you are still a man and you want to take on this, look persona, whatever, I'm sure she's mourning what she had with you prior to this whole debacle of makeup and lashes and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So when I spoke to other trans widows, they were told by therapists that they also were lesbians. Okay. But lesbians are females. Okay. And you can never consider yourself a lesbian because you're male. You've got your wife pregnant. You use your peen to get your wife impregnated and you have 4 children with her. And I don't understand why you would say something like that because it's first of all, it's blatantly false. And secondly, it's extremely harmful and dangerous to your wife. Extremely harmful. Now she's going to think that she's maybe a lesbian. She's not. She's not. Okay, let's just be clear for that. That's one. 2, what would it take, you think, for you to stop doing this and just go back to normal life and let your kids and wife just, go through life with a dad? Because Envy did mention earlier that you wanted your daughter to call you mom, right?
I mean, I did want to, but if she's not comfortable with it, I'm okay with that.
Again, extremely harmful for your children to make them call you mom. They have a mom. Their mom is your wife. Men can't be mothers. That's a female role. That's a role that only women take. And I find it, me personally, as somebody with 2 children and somebody that suffered infertility and many miscarriages and IVF and all this other stuff, I find it extremely offensive that you want to refer to yourself and make your daughter call you mother. It's another dangerous thing to tell your child. Just like it's dangerous to tell your wife that she's a lesbian.
I would never make her.
I think just the simple fact of you asking her is enough. Right? And then you said you lost your relationship with your oldest child over it, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
And that's not enough to make you stop because you're here today.
I mean, I know you're not going to like this. I would rather be here like this than be gone.
Than be with your children?
Well, be gone living how I was, if you understand what I'm saying.
So you're saying that you'll take your own life?
I'm just saying there's a potential with severe depression and having been in the hospital several times, there would be a potential.
So by you doing this presentation, it makes you feel that you don't want to do that? I'm trying to fill in the gaps.
Yes.
So I obviously don't advocate for that, right? You're a father, you have children, you have a wife, you have a family. Like nobody should do that at all, regardless of what the situation is that you're presented with and the situation that you present your family with. I just look at it as you've lived a really long time as a man, and now you're doing this, and now it's kind of causing disruption in your family. Move forward a little bit. You also use women's spaces. You recorded yourself in the women's bathroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you do that?
I will admit I had a little bit too much to drink. We were out. It was something that I've always wanted to.
What do you mean? Always wanted to do what?
Use the correct restroom. That I know you guys don't agree with it.
Well, you've been using the correct restroom for 40 years. Right now you're using the incorrect restroom.
That's in my perception.
You perceive that you should be using the women's bathroom?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because internally, I feel like a female. And it's not something I'm going to do every time. It was something I wanted to do one time. There wasn't really anybody in there, like in the restaurant.
Can I ask you, how tall are you?
I'm sorry?
How tall are you?
6 foot.
How much do you weigh?
180.
So you're a big guy.
Yeah,
You think you would make women uncomfortable if you went into the women's bathroom?
I do, but there was nobody in the restaurant. The restaurant was pretty much empty.
Right, but if a woman did go in that bathroom while you were in there, you think you recognize that you would make her uncomfortable,
Yeah, yeah.
but you would still go in.
Not if there was anybody in there, no.
Okay. I would just hope in the future that you don't do that, specifically recording in the women's bathroom, extremely violating to women's privacy, that they can't even use a restroom without having a man in there recording himself using the women's restroom. I also noticed in the video that you stood up and urinated in the women's bathroom.
Yes,
Okay, so do you see how that's a problem?
I do. I had a little bit too much to drink at the, I apologize for that.
So do you see how this is a cluster of problems that we're encountering? And
Yes.
I'm trying to make this like clear. Using the women's restroom is a problem. Recording in the women's restroom is a big problem. Making your daughter or asking your daughter to call you mommy is a problem. Going on live on TikTok and saying that you're trans and appearing this way is a big problem. Saying that if your wife took your children and if it was an ultimatum between your children and wife and you doing this, you would still continue to do this. So, I mean, this seems to me like this is just about the way that you want to live your life, and you don't care about other women, making your children uncomfortable, losing a relationship with your 21-year-olds. I mean, where are you going to step out and say, you know what, maybe this is not a good idea?
I gave up my whole life for my 21-year-old. I was a single dad for 8 years with my 21-year-old. I lived in Hawaii and gave all that up for her. So she's really my baby, and it breaks my heart that she doesn't want to have anything to do with me.
But you're not going to change. Because I look at it from a parent's perspective, right? I would never want to cause damage to the relationship between me and my children. Nothing is going to take me away from my kids, no matter what and how I felt, what I was thinking, nothing. Okay. And when I asked you that and you're like, well, it breaks my heart, but you're still going to do it anyway. So it doesn't really, I mean, maybe it upsets you, but if you really, really wanted to maintain the relationship with your child, you would give up whatever you needed to give up to make that repair and repair the relationship with your child. But it just doesn't seem like you really, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't seem like you really want to, and it doesn't seem like you really care. It's very nonchalant in the conversation. It's like, well, she doesn't want to talk to me, my heart's broken, but you're not going to stop doing it. So you're going to lose your relationship with your children. And your 7-year-olds for right now, daddy lets me put makeup on. I mean, my husband lets my daughters, when they were little, paint his nails.
Yeah.
But they were 4 and 3 years old. Okay. So it's fun and games now until you have to go to pick up your daughter from 6th grade and her dad's in the car with eyeliner on it and eyelashes. That's going to be a big problem for her. So you don't know how she's going to feel later on as a teenager.
I know. I haven't got that far yet.
Go ahead, Andy.
A couple days ago, I was just wondering if this was a big mistake to do this publicly. I haven't gone anywhere yet to embarrass her. Like, I haven't taken her to school. I don't go to work like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. I didn't mean to just insult anybody. I know I'm putting myself out there, so you have every right to your opinion about it. I don't know that you can just lump me into the same category as everyone else that you've interviewed.
You're exactly the same characteristics as everybody that I've interviewed. Exactly the same. I've interviewed a man that was in his 60s, that had grandchildren, that transitioned in his 50s, that got his wife pregnant. This man had 7 children, okay? And he left his wife and children to do this and lost his job and was in a homeless shelter.
Wow.
Doesn't care, though. Doesn't care.
I do care.
But not enough to stop.
If it came down to it, I guess I would, but if I was going to lose everything, but I just think inside I would be depressed. I would be miserable. Is that fair to me?
Jamie, I think you're depressed regardless. And this is someone who, like, I have struggled with depression my whole life. So I am recognizing that in you. I think you have a lot more going on than this. And for me, I feel like Christy said, you know, you've already lost one child. She wants nothing to do with you, right? For me, if I lost my daughter, my world would end. Like, there's nothing I wouldn't do for her. And I cannot imagine losing her or that relationship. And I don't think that you're seeing what is going to happen down the road. I don't think that you're seeing this by you coming out, right? And saying this to your wife and your family and everybody. It's not just about you. And I think that you're getting some sense of relief because now you're able to live, as you say, your authentic self, but you're not just affecting yourself. You know what I mean? Like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, I just, I think that you need help beyond this, because I don't think this is what's going on with you. I think that this is maybe a mask for something else. Like Benji said, maybe it's like a midlife crisis kind of thing. I don't know, but I can tell that you have a lot more going on than this. And I urge you, because I don't think that anybody would benefit from you not being here, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have kids and you're their father. You will always be their father, and they should be your priority. And I urge you to get help, because, like I said, I think this is a mask for something else that's going on. And I think that you owe it to your kids and your wife to be the father and the husband that they have had, because this is not it.
Can I say something?
Of course.
What do I do if I'm already in therapy and my therapist is saying, this is the direction you should go? Find a new therapist.
How long have you been with this therapist?
3 years.
And you just now, like, when did you get diagnosed with gender dysphoria?
We've been discussing it from day one.
So for 3 years?
No, it was probably a year into it that she labeled me, I guess. She wanted to make sure before she jumped the gun, is what she said. So we got my medications correct first. Then she did a series of interviews, and then she said, you know, one day you're going to have to be yourself with this. You're going to have to tell her. And it took me 2 years since then to do that.
So can I ask how your depression is being treated?
Abilify,
So you're taking medications?
Yes. Yeah.
Mood stabilizer at all?
Mood stabilizer.
Antidepressant,
antipsychotic, and something else.
What do you mind? The antipsychotic, you said that's for your bipolar?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that okay?
It's pretty much a mood stabilizer. That's just what it's called.
Okay. Well, I just think that you need to really think about what the implications are, because this is really, like Christy said, when your daughter is in middle school and you pick her up and you've got all your makeup and all of that on, how is that going to affect her?
Well, everything that you guys are bringing up is valid and good points, and it's giving me something to think about. It's hard because I don't know if I can go back, but at the same time, I didn't realize that I was being narcissistic or selfish.
Can I ask you, are you on cross-sex hormones? Have you started the...
No, it's only been 3 weeks that I've come out.
Right. So nothing has changed. Really, all that's changed, Jamie, is you've got pink eyeshadow on. That's it. That's nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing. You've just got eyeshadow on. That is it. So I'm sorry about the echoes. It's still echoing.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, so what I'm saying to you, like, I think it's just, I don't know obviously what's gone on in your therapy session, but one, I would like to know, has she ever tried to help you reconcile with yourself in terms of like accepting yourself, not as what you want to be, but as in like what you are? Has she ever tried to do that? Because I feel like she may be taking advantage of your mental state and has tried to give you a reason as to why you are feeling this way. And then when a professional sits in front of you and says, hey, do you know what? You've got this, that, and that. You feel like A, B, C, and D. And the reason is X, Y, Z, right? And then, am I correct in saying when she said this to you, did you feel like a weight was lifted off of you? Did you feel
absolutely.
like, yes, now I know something? Yeah. So she's lying to you. She really is, right? And as I've said, right, so the verbal part of you coming out and saying, right, that I am this, and you felt like the weight has been lifted off and whatnot, you haven't even begun the cross-sex hormones part of yourself yet, but you seem to have this weight lifted off. Before you make this change permanent, I urge you to reconsider and think about it. There's nothing wrong if you want to wear makeup. If you want to do that, you go for it, right? If you want to behave or whatever it is in whatever way, as long as you're not harming others and you're staying out of the female space, you have the right to live the life that you want to live, right? Yeah. But I think it's very harmful that she's guiding you into a place. It's either that or you're lying to us, right? So it's going to be one of the two, right? And I'll take it at face value right now because I don't know who you are. I don't know your story. I've not been around you. I don't know. So I'm not going to make any like assumptions. I have my own thoughts, but it's my opinions. It doesn't mean it's a fact. I just think that you're being lied to, and the more destructive your life becomes because of you coming out. I don't know what you've come out as. Like, there's no difference. Like, really think about it here. Nothing has changed. It's just the words that you have uttered, right? Now, the more destructiveness that causes in your life, the more you're going to have to go and see her, right? It's a shame we've lost the ethical part of our healthcare and mental health care system. They're not here. If they helped you reconcile and you sorted yourself out, you wouldn't need to go put money in her pocket anymore.
Yeah.
But she's disruption. Oh, actually, you are actually a woman because you didn't like playing with certain toys. And this is where I say gender dysphoria has been taken out of context so much that gender dysphoria, because you never mentioned anything about your bodily autonomy, not that you have to, but usually when I've spoken to trans-identified people, trans-identified men who have told me that they've taken metal things to their body parts because they can't stand the look of it, right? You're not showing signs of that to me. You're showing signs of you're in a midlife crisis, you sought help, and this is the help that's been given to you. And because it's out there and a bit different, you've kind of got this feeling of, oh, this is who I am and what I want to be, and I've been in the closet for so long. But I genuinely don't think that's the case. I think, not that I think, I know you're just a man that likes a bit of makeup and you like to maybe dress up a little bit. I would advise maybe get a second opinion, you know, because we've got a lot of this ideology, and think about it. Let's say this, right, Jamie? You said you've got a daughter. How many daughters do you have?
3 daughters and a boy.
Right. Okay, 3 daughters. Right. So we'll go with the daughters for now. How would you feel? And think about it. How would you feel if you saw, say, you wasn't you, and you saw you walking into the bathroom after your daughters? What would you think of a grown man, a man walking in behind your daughters in a female space? I would think, as a protective father, that would enrage you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, because we don't know. You don't know what's going on in my mind. I don't know what's going on in yours, right? So objectively, through looking at each other, you can't tell if I'm going to cause a harm to you or if you're going to cause a harm to me. I wouldn't be able to tell that. And you, as a father, being protective over your daughter, over your daughters, you're not going to know what this man's intention is. But I know you're not going to take that chance. So we have to live in a selfless society, right? We have a responsibility as adults in society to protect the children and protect the vulnerable. Women and children being the main vulnerable out there. I mean, I'm not saying like there's obviously disabled people and things like that, but we're just going along with the sexes right now. I don't think you would allow any man to walk in behind your daughters. So remember, every time you walk into a female space, you are violating the boundary of a woman that has a father, that has a brother.
I would have never gone in there had there been small children in that bathroom.
That's not the point. It's not the point that if they are in there, one, you don't know who's in there, right? And then you just walk in, right? And then they're going to get afraid. Number 2, you could be just in there doing your thing, and then a child could walk in. It's designated for the female sex for a reason, because we, women, and think about it as well, Jamie, women in the past, right, our ancestors, even women in your family back in history, they fought for the rights that your daughters have today. You are actively advocating against the rights that have been put in place for your daughters, for their right to privacy, dignity, and safety away from the male sex. Now, right, you want to live the life that you want to live, and you want to be accepted by your family. That hasn't happened, of course not. They're not going to accept that. But what you are doing at the same token, you are now effectively removing your daughter's rights in law as well. So you're not just doing one thing, you're doing 2. So if you really do love your daughters, stop using the female spaces and advocate to keep males out of their spaces, and you live your life the way you want to live it, if that's the way it's going to be.
I will not. I'm not going to go in again. I won't. I don't. Like I said, I really didn't mean to upset anybody, and I'll take the video down. And I'm
because remember, Jamie, remember this, right? Your children can be on social media as well. Now, think about your daughter. You said she's 21. She comes on TikTok. She comes across your page and she sees her dad.
I already saw her and her boyfriend in my. I saw her.
Come on, think. Feel with your heart and think with your brain. It's not about you. This isn't about. There's things I want to do, Jamie. There's so many things I want to do, but I can't because I have responsibilities. I'm a carer for my mother. I can't go out. I can't socialize. Heck, I even gave up my dating life to be a carer. So do I think me, I? No, we have to be selfless, and this is what's wrong with society. We've become too selfish. Practice whatever you want to practice in your own closed doors or whatever it is, but know that you are a father now. You've taken on a responsibility. And live out that responsibility. Because look, listen, Jamie, time is ticking. You're going to get old and you're going to get older. You're going to get frail. You're going to get weak, right? The same way my mum is unwell. But guess what? She has her daughter here. God forbid anything was to ever happen to you. Your friends are not going to be there. Friends will all leave in the end, right? They'll go. It's your family that is going to be there for you. So think about your future. Stop living in the now. It's well. I'm not saying don't live in the now at all. You know, you're human again. You can think, but think about the where it's going to take you in life. Because you will end up alone, and your friends and these little TikTok supporters, in the end, where are they going to be? They're going to move on to the next man that thinks he's a woman and applaud him when you're lying in the bed all by yourself, shitting on yourself, wearing a nappy, and a stranger is coming in to wipe you clean. You want that to be your family and your daughters. So know what you're doing is all I'm saying.
Okay.
I have a question for you. I have a couple of people in the queue that want to ask a few questions. Some of them are men, and some of them are trans. Are you okay with me bringing them up and doing like 2 questions each? Envy, you're good with that?
That's okay.
Okay. You're okay with it?
Yeah.
Danielle, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to say too, Jamie, I appreciate that you're really thinking about what's being said. And I think that that takes a lot, because like you said, you've got 3 women here that are talking to you and it's coming at you at every angle. But I appreciate that you're sticking here and listening and truly listening, because it's not coming from a place of hate. You know, like Envy said, do whatever you want to do when you get home. Wear the makeup, do all the things that you want to do. But as a father, you do owe it to your children, you know, and really think about what you're doing and how you would feel if somebody followed your daughter into the restroom or came in when she was using the restroom. You know, like, I appreciate that you're sticking this out and really listening.
And also one thing, like, you are blessed with 4 children. There's many people that cannot have any children. You have 4 children, and it seems like they loved you, right? And you said you're 21-year-old and you were very close. You don't want to damage that relationship, because that's, you know, those are the people that are going to be with you up until, like, you know, you're down and under. So you really got to look in yourself deep and figure out how you're going to navigate through this and where your priority is going to be, right? 4 children, that's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of love from them as well. So you have to really look and understand the damage that you're going to cause the relationships that you have already with them. So, one question I wanted to ask, and Martha actually asked it too. I was thinking about it earlier. Do you watch like pornography a lot?
No.
You don't?
No.
Look at me when you say it.
No, I don't. Look.
Don't be lying.
See this?
Yeah.
I study the Bible every day. I love Jesus and we have a relationship. And that's something that I have, but it's not something that I do all the time.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let up a few people. We're gonna run through these people quickly, 1 or 2 questions each, and then we'll end the live.
Okay.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
50.
Hey, 50.
What's up, family? How y'all doing? Man, this was a lot to take in. I have. What is your absolute goal in life? What is it that you want to accomplish?
If one day I die, I want my family to be surrounding me. So I just want to be a good person to my family, because that's, like you say, all I'll really have. I would, outside of that, like to be in a successful financially and be able to provide and support, and also have, you know, be a good moral person as far as my faith goes. And if those things, that's all I'm asking out of life.
You say you want to provide and support.
Yes.
Sounds very masculine to me. Because that's a duty And it seems like you're still holding on to that duty or that responsibility. I have another question.
Yeah, 50.
There's this stigma that's been I don't know, going around for a while now with white men and how they're being perceived as, you know, the toxic men or the people of this country that are holding everybody down. Have you ever had a conflict with that feeling before this spiritual transition that you have going on? Did you have a conflict with that or something like that? Because I see that this is starting to happen with a lot of white men, to where they are embracing this idea of wanting to transition into this different gender or whatnot because of the way they are being perceived by society.
Well, first of all, just so everybody knows, I'm a Trump supporter. Okay, I don't know if that has anything to do with what you're saying. Number two, I feel like this goes all the way back to when I was younger. I know what you're saying. I have seen this where straight white men are persecuted or perceived as evil now. I never really considered that for myself, but at the same time, if crap hit the fan, I don't think that would be a bad thing to be what I'm being now. I mean, that's the best way I can answer it.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean you don't think it would be a bad thing to be what you are right now? Do you feel like you would have more of a safety net?
Yes, yeah.
Good question, 50. That was a really good one.
So basically, from the two questions that I asked you, this is what I'm seeing. You are in fear of masculinity because you are scared that you're going to fail what resembling masculinity is. But let me tell you something, bro. Masculinity is hard. It is tough. It comes with a lot of adversity. It comes with a lot of trials. It comes with a lot of downfalls. It comes with tears. It comes with pain, right? It comes with questioning yourself every day if you are doing the right thing by your friends, your family, and your loved ones. Every day, especially when you have past childhood traumas and things that you haven't let go of, right? But at the end of the day, man, it is also one of the most beautiful experiences that any man can have when you are able to overcome that. But when you're now trying to do what you're doing, you are walking away from that responsibility and you are hurting your daughters and your children and your wife. You literally told her that you guys are in a lesbian relationship. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, let's say if your wife was cheating on you, me and you would be penetrating her the same way. There is nothing lesbian about that, bro. Yeah. Nothing whatsoever. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's off. Why are you treating her like this? What did she do to deserve this? What is it within you that you need to fix? This is what you need to start searching. You need to find out, why are you doing what you're doing, and why are you scared to be a man? There's nothing wrong with being a man, bro. I can tell you that from the deepest part of my heart. There's a lot of respect that comes with it, but there's also a lot of dangers that come with it too. But it's okay. You have to protect your family. That's your job, your duty, and you said it yourself. Stand on that 10 toes down and don't let it go. It's okay. And I promise you, you will find men that see you doing right, that will have your six. And if things ever get tough, they're going to help you protect your family just as much as you should be helping them protect their families. And be willing to take that ultimate sacrifice and be the sacrificial lamb, not only for your children, but also God, land, and country. Respect who you are as an individual.
Big W for filthy in the chat. Big W. That was great. First of all, great questions and great advice. Big W for filthy. Do you want to respond? And then we're going to move on to Nate.
I do understand everything he said.
Jamie, I'm going to be honest. I appreciate you listening. And this is 50. You want to come on camera? I don't know if he can come up. There he is. 50 comes in my live all the time, and he gives great advice. He's a great person. I think it would be beneficial to listen to other people's perspectives, even though you might have disagreements or you might be conflicted in what you choose to do later on. I think it's important to listen to people. If your therapist is just saying like, okay, well, this is what you are and we'll just go forward with it, maybe get to the root of the problem. Why do you feel like this? Why are you doing this? How long has this been happening? Where did it come from? Is it a place of trauma? Is it a place of mental health conditions? You know, it's important to listen sometimes. And we're not doing this to upset you. But we are doing this to maybe so you could gain some understanding of us as outsiders looking in.
I mean, it seems like you got really emotional when 50 said, like, being a man, a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, and it can be overwhelming. And I see that affected you a lot. Do you think that maybe this is your escape from reality? I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong. I'm just wondering if that's why it hit you so hard, because being a man is tough. I know when my husband has a long work day, he comes home and he's exhausted. The weekend, he's exhausted. He's overwhelmed. I mean, this world right now is insane, right? Like, there's a lot of responsibility. And because you said you're a Republican, are you conservative as well? Like, yeah. That comes with a lot of responsibility in its own. Men are supposed to be the providers. Men are supposed to be the head of the family, right? That's how conservatives are. I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. Like, that's the way, I think as a conservative man, a lot of that responsibility falls on your shoulders. And do you think, because I saw that this hit you hard, do you think that this is an escape for you? Like, I don't want to be a man. I don't want all of this. Because to me, like I said from the beginning, like, it doesn't seem like you're trans to me. It seems like you are a feminine man. And having all of this responsibility on your shoulders is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be totally off, but I'm just wondering if maybe this is your escape from all of that pressure.
I have a question. Did you get bullied in school by other dudes?
Yeah.
Got you. All right.
I'm also a veteran.
Well, thank you for your service, first of all.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Listen,
that's much appreciated.
Listen, life is going to beat you up sometimes, man. Let me give you a little bit of my backstory so we can relate, first of all. My dad was also in the military. He was unalived by my own mother. With the age of 2, he was already out of my life. My mother held knives on my neck as a child. I grew up in group homes, institutionalized, been in and out of prison, all different types of stuff. Life is tough, man. It's tough out here, right? But at the end of the day, the most important thing that kept me alive was forgiveness, forgiving those people that hurt you, and number 2, self-love, and finding that inner power within yourself to overcome these issues, these matters, these things that are bothering you so deeply. And it comes with you having to revisit the past. And I think what you need to do is take a walk in the past and deal with those traumas and fix them and break them down like a Rubik's Cube and try to straighten everything out so that way you can feel whole again. Because I can tell you are not feeling whole, not one bit. And it's okay. I'm not mad at you for it. I've been down and out. You get what I'm saying? I've hit rock bottom multiple times in my life. But what I would really love to see is that day where you take off those lashes and you take off all the nonsense and you get back to being what you were meant to be. If you feel that you're weak at times, it's okay. All of us men fall weak at certain points in our life. All of us men also are in tune with their feminine energy, especially when you're with the woman that you love. You have to be. But to completely take that in and to make it a part of yourself because you're dealing with the confusion and the headaches from the past and the stress like that, don't take that out on the other people out there, because what you're doing right now is projection. And that right there is wrong, bro. Stop projecting on your kids. Stop projecting on your wife. Stop projecting on the world, man. You owe this to yourself to do right by yourself. But this projection bullshit is for the birds, fam. It's for the birds. Stop the nonsense. Stop it. You got a whole family to take care of. Why are you doing this to them? That's really narcissistic. 100%. And there's a lot of narcissistic men out here that are being ditties, abusing people, and you're abusing your family. You're being a ditty within your own household. Stop it. Accept who you are, and it's okay. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, you can always hit me up in the DMs, and I will always not disrespect you. I will talk to you like a brother and let you know, my guy, it's okay. But you can turn around. You can fix it.
Jamie said
You know
that
what I'm
he needed
saying? You
support
can fix
also.
it.
50, he also said that he needed support. So if 50 is willing to open up his inbox to you, maybe that's somebody that you could look forward to. He's a great person. He comes in my lives. He's amazing.
He is a good person. And my DMs are open to you as well. I can see, Jamie, that you're in a lot of pain. I really can. And
wait, hold on. 50, I'm going to rotate you out. I appreciate you. I'm going to send you a message on Discord. Thank you. We're going to move on. Thanks.
I was just going to say, like, 50 is a great person. I've known him for a while, and we've had a lot of conversations off this app. And he's someone that when he says his DMs are open, they're open.
Yeah.
But, and mine are as well. Like I said, I see that you're in a lot of pain. And when you said that you are a conservative, it clicked for me. That's a lot of stress and pressure that you put on yourself. And I can see why you would want an escape. I mean, I just don't think that this is it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nate.
Well, I just wanted a very simple question. Do you not think it's a little bit ridiculous or offensive that you would tell women that you feel female? I feel like that's a very, I don't know.
Nate, you want the camera on while you do this.
My camera, oh my God. Listen, it was an accident and then I was like, okay, I'm going to stay on and then, okay. All right.
Yeah, put it
I'm
on.
going to drop real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. So do you think it offensive that you would call yourself or say that you feel female?
These are really things that I hadn't considered fully. Hearing it, I guess I was coming on trying to get support from the LGBT community, and I didn't really think it through like that. I didn't know that I was hurting people or being narcissistic. So, no.
Okay. All right. Well, I have more like a statement to make. I think it was incredibly harmful and hurtful for you to really go and consult your wife and say that you think that you guys would be in a lesbian relationship. That threw me off guard that threw me off guard if I'm being honest with you. I think that must have been so hurtful to hear, honestly. And I'm not usually the emotional, empathetic type or sympathetic type, but that sounded, when you said that, I paused everything that I was doing and I was like, why would you say something like that?
The only reason that from my perspective, was if I'm a female inside and she's my wife, then she would if I'm female, then she is now married to a female. Okay, it's not anything that I would never want to hurt. She's not.
I understand, but why do you think female is a feeling that a person can have? It's a biological reality. I think it's quite offensive, and the women in here can say whether or not they agree. I think it's offensive for you to say that being female is a feeling, because it's not. I can't be female because I'm not female.
It's just a state of being.
Right. It's a state of. It's not something that you can feel. It's not something that you can intrinsically align with. You're just not female. There's nothing up here that can make me female. No, nothing in here, because I'm just not.
Well, based on what I had seen in the media, online, I wasn't really expecting this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be all open arms. So I hadn't really thought of this side of the argument. And I have a therapist that was saying, go with it.
Okay. Well, I would suggest, and this is my last thing, I would suggest you change your therapist, because I don't think that your therapist is guiding in the right direction. All that I've really seen you describe here is that you like feminine things and you have a creative expression and you align with things that are traditionally female associated. I don't think that makes you female inside. I don't think that's what you've described to us. I think you've described that you like feminine things. That's what you've expressed to me. And I don't know if anybody else has gathered that from what he said. That's what I am getting. All of the things that you listed as a part of your, and I'm going to put this in quotes, womanhood, are things that men can also have that don't make them women. That's what I think you've explained. There's nothing that you've explained to us that men can't do, besides this feeling of being female, which we really haven't established. So I think maybe as other persons to get a second opinion, because what you've told us, you just sound like a feminine man to me, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And your children, I mean, I don't know what I would do if my father were to tell me one day that he wanted to be a woman. I don't know how I would handle it. I'm sorry,
I don't know what I would do if my father did it.
And I did say one last thing, but also it's a lot. You've said a lot, so it's quite a lot to deconstruct. You said that you would, and it shocked me as well when you said that if your wife were to give you an ultimatum between, what's it called?
Not transitioning.
Not transitioning and her leaving, you would choose the transition. That is incredibly selfish. I will say it is. For you to prioritize yourself and your feeling of femininity over the 4 children that you've brought into this world and your wife. Sorry, this is not a good look. I'm just telling you how I hear it. It's not, if you don't want to take it, if you don't want to listen to a word of it, if you're going to leave this live without ever.
I did not see it. I didn't see it as narcissistic.
All right, I'm gonna try to go through quick. I got a lot of people. I'm gonna try to do 1 or 2 questions. Thanks, Nate. We're gonna go. Oh, by the way, after this, Envy, we're gonna go to your live. Yeah. Okay. You want to stay up for the rest of this, or you want to? What do you want to do?
Me? Who are you talking to?
Envy. You want to stay up? You're good, right? Okay. So I know you got the 24-hour. I didn't want to disrupt it. All right, Nate. I'm gonna drop you. We're gonna move on. Marty's gonna be next. Go ahead,
really
Marty.
quick, I just want to say again, Jamie, I applaud you for staying here and listening to this. And it's, I hope you don't feel like we're bullying you or any of that stuff, because that's not the intent at all. So I really appreciate you sticking around and hearing different sides of this. But again, I just want to say my DMs are open if you ever need to talk, because I can tell that this is a lot for you, and with what you go through mentally anyway, I just want to make sure that you're okay. You're not going to leave this live and, be alone or any of that stuff.
Okay.
Marty is passing her time to Martha first, and then we'll go to Marty. Go ahead, Martha. Keep it clean.
So, a lot to say, but I'll try to keep it quick. So, what I'm gathering from what's going on here is you are a textbook autogynephile. I don't think you're incredibly honest. I think that with your disorders and things that you have mentally, I think lying, manipulating, mimicking affect, definitely have everyone going here with the whole like, and like I'm really receiving. And I honestly think that you're very corn sick and you have other comorbid mental disorders. And I think that this ideology is just sitting there waiting to just lap you up. You're perfect for this ideology. And so unfortunately, like therapists and the world and the LGBTQ and everybody, they all will support the path of destruction that you're on. So you have to be very careful about going down this path and then receiving. You're going to get all this support, and you know it because that's why you're here today. Like the attention, all of this stuff. This feels good for you, and I understand that. But you're going to get a lot of validation from the community that will usher you and your family's destruction. And because you're so fresh on this path, it seems like you've just started to go down this path. I beg you to research autogynephilia, research paraphilias and how dangerous they are and how they act like addictions. And I think someone said you had some addiction problems. So you're very vulnerable to addiction and to paraphilia. So just how dangerous they are to women and children. The fact that you have the name of the Buffalo Bill character and you're pretending it was an accident and a total coincidence is deeply alarming. It's actually, it's so alarming, I don't even know what to say. It just screams pathological liar, it screams manipulator, and it screams psychopath for you to be doing what you're doing, plus take that name on, plus pretend that you didn't know. It's just so alarming. And everything I'm hearing is alarming. You involving children in your paraphilia actively, like having your children apply your makeup. Absolutely. Like, I am so concerned. Like, I'm sick. I'm sick for your child. So I beg you to get real help away from the ideology, away from the affirmers of this ideology. I beg you to figure out like all your comorbidities and your autogynephilia and get it under control and get away from your wife and children while you're doing this, because you're hurting them right now. You're hurting them. Okay. If you're going to take your path, yourself down a path of destruction, that's your business. But for you to drag your family with you, it's unforgivable. Okay. You know, you're a sick person. You know, you have comorbid problems. I heard you before mention that you started to do this because your father was unalived and now you could kind of thing, now that his watchful eye or whatever wouldn't judge you or whatever. You have deep problems, and your family doesn't need to pay the price for them. So until you get yourself on track, like, you need to support your family. You need to do so from afar and get away from children. You need to be nowhere near children, and you need to stop gaslighting your wife, and you need to stop hurting your family while you get better. And please stay the fuck away from the LGBTQ community and away from this ideology, because they'll do nothing but support you and usher in your demise.
True.
Okay.
Thanks, Martha. Brad, do you want to respond?
I hear what she's saying. I'll take that into consideration.
Okay.
And you're not fooling as many people as you think you're fooling, just so you know.
Okay.
All right. I think we're going to do Marty, and then we're going to move to Envy's live, because I want you to get back on track with your 24-hour. Go ahead, Marty.
Just quickly, sorry, I'm going to drop, and Jamie, just sort yourself out. I don't know what you really thought was going to happen. You were going to come into a panel full of women and we were going to clap and stroke your ego and all of that. Not going to happen, right? You might find some other mentally ill people on the app that might stroke your ego. It's not going to happen here. So sort it out, right? Thank you. Thank you for having me up, Christy.
My pleasure.